For more frequent video uploads, feel free to support AnimeKouhai at Patreon. The link is in the description below.
Following my audiences with the monster leaders of the Forest of Jura, my discussions with Western nations representatives proceeded without a hitch. We'd talk details with them at a later date, but for now, all signs looked pretty good. The rather bizarre banquet we'd held the previous night also went smoothly, even with the movers and shakers from all over the world attending. Really, it was a coup for us. But for the most part, I spoke only with people I already knew beforehand. Rigurd and Mjolmile were handling the more practical side of things, talking to people and summarizing what they said for me. They also made it known that visitors shouldn't try indiscreetly talking to me while I went about my business. Great job, guys. Talk about capable. Because, honestly, if someone went right up to me with an offer, I might very well just say all right, sure to them, and who knows what kinds of commitments I'd be beholden to then. Having a cushion against that was extremely helpful. I mean, if it had helped build relationships with other countries, I wouldn't hesitate to offer as much support as I could. But it was safer to be conservative until we had a better gauge of the other party. Basically, stop being such a yes man to everyone I see. Besides, the facts were that we had a personnel shortage. Once the excitement from the festival died down, we had a mountain of projects to tackle and a herd of issues screaming to be addressed. Whether we could cover them all or not, we lacked the government infrastructure needed to fine-tune and execute on them. If I threw even more work on everyone's laps right now, we'd just drown in it all. Rigurd and Mjolmile were even better at processing this than I was. Their expert handling of any issue I ordered them to look at was making me complacent, despite myself. I even kept them up late for last night's meeting. From now on, I resolved to myself after the emergency conference ended late, I couldn't let them spoil me. Today, then, my mission was to act like the national leader I was and give our visitors the best service I possibly could. So here we are now, a bright, sunny day. The Tempest Founders Festival was here. If it was raining, I would have blown the clouds away and held it regardless, but this was Rimuru, capital of Tempest. The northern zone of the city named after me was where most of our government agencies were located, and atop the balcony of the main assembly hall in the middle, I looked down at the people below. Ahead was the main street, extending out from this building and across the whole of town, and today it was completely full of people. There were my people, former monsters, more appropriately called demi-humans these days. There were magic-born gathered from all across the Forest of Jura. There were merchants from nearby nations, along with the adventurers serving as their bodyguards. There were even farmers stopping in, hoping for a taste of the excitement. They were a melting pot of races and species, numbering over 100,000, and right now, they were all spread out before me. Slowly, gradually, it made me truly feel I had done it. I had created a nation where man and monster could coexist without conflict. The feeling filled my heart, piece by piece. It comforted me. Now it was almost time. I stood up and placed a hand on the mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the, Almighty Demon Lord.
Screw this. A formal policy speech was asking a little, actually, a lot too much from me. Instead, I opted to wing it and give the crowd my honest feelings.
I'm the Demon Lord Rimuru. Good to see you all. So, I'm glad you all accepted the invitation to my country here. Some of you are visiting for the first time, but I don't want any of you to be anxious. It's true, I am a demon lord, but I have no intention of being hostile toward any human. My hope is that I can build a nation where all of us can get along together. I believe that, instead of people and monsters fighting, if we join hands and work together, a better future is waiting for all of us.
I gauged the reaction as I spoke. They all seemed to be lending an attentive ear, my own subjects, of course, but also the peasants just here for fun. Sensing I had some momentum, I continued.
I am sure some of you are wary of me because I've become a demon lord. That's only natural, of course, but I honestly want you to believe in what you're feeling. I have no interest in forcing my will upon any of you. If you think you can believe in me, I'd be happy to hear that. But if you don't, I'm not going to dwell on it. Trust isn't created overnight. I'm not going to press you for a conclusion on that, because I feel trust is something we earn by building it up over the course of our relationships.
Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. Trust is a gradual process, and that's fine. It'll depend on them, I suppose, to accept me for what I really am. Next, I wanted to reveal my true intentions to my fellow rulers, the royalty and nobility in the audience.
To all the nobles here, when you return to your homelands, I ask you to be honest and relate everything you see to your countrymen. We have already established friendly relations with several countries. Even if you don't trust us, are those other nations worthy of your trust? If you are biased against me because I am a slime or a demon lord, I hope that you cast that aside.
That, of course, would be up to the nation in question, not the individuals who make it up. The feelings of the people in the audience may not be the real issue, but I'd still like to believe that what I said had value. But I also needed to give a warning, just to prevent a second Farmus from happening.
Personally, I have no intention whatsoever of waging war simply because someone will not join hands with us. However, if you try to push unequal treatment on us because we are monsters or attempt to wage a war in order to eradicate us, we will not show you any mercy. I think all of you can understand that much looking at the recently destroyed kingdom of Farmus.
Those, too, were my thoughts on the matter. It could be construed as a threat, but it was how I honestly felt. I didn't like war, but I had no qualms about waging it. If a ruler ever shows indecision, it's their defenseless civilians who wind up getting dragged into it. The entire role of a nation is to protect the lives and fortunes of its citizens. I had monsters gathering here because they relied on me, to say nothing of the people who'd be moving in before long. Keeping them safe was the most important job I had. A world without military power would be an ideal one, but that was an impossible fairy tale. People are free to dream about it during peaceful times, but rulers don't get that luxury. At a bare minimum, a nation is expected to be prepared to deal with any situation that could arise. That was why I wanted to address the ruling class listening to me, while I had the chance. To wrap up.
And to all the merchants, adventurers, and regular peasantry gathered here, I swear to you that I will not lay a hand on any of you. I mean, unless you commit a crime or something, but otherwise, no. My nation is facing a lack of workers. We have many jobs that need to be filled, so if you seek work, I would like all of you to consider moving here. Wherever people gather, new opportunities, and new chances, are bound to follow. As a rule, we guarantee your right to free expression. This includes free speech, as well as the right to choose the job you want. You do, of course, still have responsibility for your words and actions, but regardless, it holds true. If this sounds like a nation you'd be interested in, then by all means, give some thought to what I just said. Going forward, our nation is planning a multitude of events. The Tempest Founders Festival starting today is only the beginning, and I hope all of you enjoy it.
After that appeal to the common man, I ended my speech. Was I being a little too honest? Ah well, I'm just an ex-employee at a contractor anyway. Getting this promotion out of the blue doesn't mean I'm suddenly capable of looking and talking like nobility. But despite that, the crowd listening to me erupted in applause. Not only my citizens, but I could see visitors from other nations, too, whooping and hollering. A few of them looked pretty unconvinced still, but by the looks of things, I'd say a solid majority believed in me, and, by extension, my country. For now, I was happy with that. It'd be creepy if I received 100% support from the start. I had given them my honest feelings. Now I'd have to wait and see how people reacted to them. But either way, the speech was a signal that the Tempest Founders Festival was underway. My speech wrapped up, I went down to the first floor hall. There, I was greeted by my kids, dressed in a new change of clothes.
Hey, Mr. Tempest, you're the king of this country?
Oh, didn't I tell them?
You didn't know that, Kenya? Well, it's not too late to realize how great a person I am. How about treating me with a little more respect?
Why would I? Okay, Mr. Tempest. Lots of respect.
As I prodded Kenya a bit, Alice gave me a big hug.
Me too. Who?
Chloe shouted, adding herself to the pile. I laughed, patting their heads as I gently peeled them off me. Alice and the others weren't pleased, but I had only one body. They'd need to realize that before they started fighting over me.
But it's still a huge surprise,
said Gale, Ryota nodding with him.
I mean, I was kinda suspicious yesterday, but...
Oh, don't worry. I didn't become king until after I left you anyway. See why I was so busy now?
Well, yeah. That's a pretty good excuse, but...
Kenya still wasn't too satisfied with this, but at least he was thinking a little about it.
So I guess we still won't see a lot of each other, Mr. Tempest.
Oh, I'll come over when I'm free. Really, despite the looks of it, I'm more decoration here than anything.
What's that mean? Are you a big shot or not, man?
I tried to smooth things over with Kenya as much as I could as I went over our rules for this event.
Okay, listen, guys. At a festival like this, it's easy to get excited and cut loose a little too much. So don't get carried away, and don't get in a fight with anyone, alright?
Okay.
That's the spirit.
Do you have your handkerchiefs, your tissues, and your pendant?
Of course.
Their responses, at least, were always snappy. I could have asked someone to chaperone them around, but my own staff members were already busy. Diablo was at the Coliseum handling referee duty, Hakuro was having some family time with Momiji, and Benimaru was guarding me.
You sure you don't want Momiji spending time with you instead of her dad?
Please, sir. It's still too early for that.
Benimaru seemed eager to run away from that question, didn't he? I guess we'd just have to wait for time to sort it out. Anyway, Shuna was running a cafe for the festival, and Shion must have had some business as well because I hadn't seen her since morning. That, in itself, was cause for concern, but I wanted to believe she was fine. Soe was running town security undercover, though, and I was sure he'd alert me if any trouble happened. His team was keeping an eye on the kids as well, so I didn't see too much need for worry.
Hey, what's up? Something bothering you?
Just when I thought there wasn't much need for worry, someone came up to me. It was Hinata, in street clothes and standing there with her rapier by her hip. She had a sleeveless dress on, in a navy blue color that ventured close to black, and her armpits and chest lurked just barely out of sight, giving her an inexplicable sort of attraction. The belt her sword hung from accentuated just how narrow her waist was. Yep, a sight for sore eyes. I wanted to stare at her some more, but then she flashed an icy look at me, so I coughed and looked away.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shoutout to 11th YT, Rahul Subramanian, Neil Thakar, Sean, Night Gazer, James Yap, Bonjin Cozy de la Lisa, Luke Devilax, Imdada115, and last but not least, shoutout to Neo Sway Fang Seka. I'll see you guys in the next video.